Is for the mole mass worksheet, and the first equation is really hard to do. So I'm just gonna show you how to do it. So because we got other things to worry about here for right now. So we got amyl alcohol C5H11OH. When it combusts, that means it's combining with oxygen O2, and the combustion of an alcohol is going to make CO2 and H2O. And so when you combust it, there'll be a 2 there, a 15 here. You see how that would be kind of hard one to balance. 10 here, and 12 here. Okay, so that's kind of would be a difficult one, but anyway. Okay, what I'm going to help you do is get all the equations on this worksheet first. So go down to number 2. Okay, and so a portable hydrogen generator, it utilizes the reaction of calcium hydride, CaH2, okay, plus water, H2O. And what that makes is it makes calcium hydroxide, CaOH2, plus hydrogen gas, H2. All right, I'll let you try to, well, maybe I'll do this one for you, just because I want to show this problem. So basically, you got one calcium, 2 hydrogens, but you got 4 on the other side, so we'll put a 2 there. And then you got 1 calcium, we already did that one. 2 oxygens, we already got 2 oxygens, but that's, let's see here, we got 2, 4, 6. Okay, so we'll put a 2 here. All right, that balances it. All right, I don't know let's see here, what this was all about. There shouldn't be a number in front of there, nothing in front of there. All right, so there we go. There's our equation. Okay, so if there's nothing there, then you can assume it's just 1. All right, this one down here, the decomposition of potassium chlorate. So what you would do is you would take KClO3, all right? It's going to decompose into KCl and O2, all right? And so there you can figure out how to balance that one. And then 5, perchloric acid is formed by the reaction of water and dichlorine heptoxide. So we got that should be Cl2O7 plus water. And that's going to make HClO4. All right. Now, I'll let you figure out how to balance that one. All right. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start at, we can start at number 1 here, but I want to tell you something. Every problem on all the worksheets that we have on this stoichiometry unit, you're always going to think in your mind 3 steps. Not that you got to do every step, but the steps always go like this. Step 1, change to moles. Unless it's already in moles, then skip that step. Step 2, mole ratio. And then step 3, change to the desired unit if you're not already in moles. You're always going to follow those 3 steps on every problem. Now, you don't always have to use all 3. Let me give you an example here. All right, so this problem here, it says how many moles of O2 are needed for the combustion of 1 mole of alcohol. So I'm going to write 1 mole, and then you got to know which one's the alcohol. Well, the alcohol is the C5H11OH. You draw the picket fence. All right, your mind's always going to go through these steps. Change to moles. Well, hey, I'm already in moles, so I can skip that step. Step 2, the mole ratio. from the balanced equation. So you get the mole ratio from the equation. Follow the diagonality rule. So 2 moles alcohol, that's C5H11OH. Okay, what are we trying to go to? How many moles of O2? 15 moles O2. And so if you were to do that problem, you would end up getting, I believe, let's see here, if I can find my answer key here. I can't find where I put it here. Let's see here. Well, I guess, oh, here it is. All right. So I guess that would equal 7.5 moles O2. If you wanted to round it off to one significant digit, then you would just call it 8 moles O2. All right. Now, so do you see how I had moles and then mole ratio, and I stopped at moles because that's what it's asking for? Okay, but let me show you what can happen. Let's go down to E right here. All right, letter E. Okay, how many grams of CO2 are produced from 1 gram of alcohol burned? So I'm going to write 1 gram C5H11OH. And I'm going to draw the picket fence. Now this is a problem we haven't done before. This is a gram to gram problem. Okay, step number 1, change to moles. Okay, are we already in moles? No, we're not. So we're going to change to moles. Remember, in the mole unit, to change to moles, you have to go 1 mole. It's always 1 mole when you change to moles using the molar mass, H11OH. We have to add up the molar mass. So we have 5 carbons times 12. 12 times 5, I think, is 60, I hope. Okay, there's 12 hydrogens times 1. That equals 12. And there's 1 oxygen times 16. That equals 16. 8, 6, 7, 8. 88 grams. Okay, that's the molar mass. Just like in the mole unit, you have to add up the molar mass. C5H11OH. So I did step 1. I changed to moles. Step 2, mole ratio from the balanced equation. Okay, see how we have mole C5H11OH, so we got to find that up here. So 2 moles C5H11OH. This is the mole ratio step. I'm getting it from the equation. Okay, what am I trying to go to? CO2. But it's a mole to mole ratio. Okay, to 10 moles CO2. See how that's a mole ratio? 2 to 10. Okay, now if it asked for moles of CO2, we would stop and do the math, but it's asking for grams, so we have to keep on going. So now all you got to do is change moles to grams, just like the mole unit. 1 mole CO2, and then you got to do the molar mass of CO2, which is 1 carbon times 12, which equals 12. 2 oxygen times 16 equals 32. 32 plus 12 is 44. So that's 44 grams CO2. Then you stop because we're trying to go to grams. That's what it's asking for. So then you do the math. And it equals 2.5 if you don't round. 2.5 grams CO2. I guess you could round it to 3 if you wanted to. All right. Okay, I'm going to do one more problem here. So let's go to 2A. How many grams of H2 can be produced by 50 grams of CaH2? So what I would do is I would write down 50 grams CaH2. All right. So we're going to follow the rules. Step number 1, change to moles if we're not already in moles. So we're not in moles, so we got to change. So it's always 1 mole, just like the mole unit. And see how I got moles on top? Grams are going to go opposite of grams. And calcium is 40, and there's 2 hydrogens, so the molar mass is 42 grams CaH2. 1 calcium from the periodic table, 2 hydrogens. All right, change to moles. Now comes the mole ratio from the balanced equation. And so the mole ratio from the equation says 1 mole CaH2 to 2 moles H2. Okay, how did I know to go to H2? Because that's what the problem is asking for. All right. Okay, but then it wants grams of H2. So I'm going to go change to grams. 1 mole H2, 2 grams H2. That's the molar mass. And I don't know the answer without calculating it. Let me see if I can figure it out here. So it looks like it would be 4.76 on the calculator. But if you wanted to round it to one significant digit, because I guess that only has one, it would be 5 grams H2. All right, that's it for that video. So try to do your best to finish this. Check your work using the keys on Google Classroom. Okay, make sure you get this work done.